All right, it's Ryan Hartson, BWC Internet Radio with Cory Bender. We're here breaking down the championship weekend. These games are so huge. I felt like this program, this company, we needed to break them down twice. So we're here doing the NFC Championship game now. It's the super ultimate game of the century of the year, pretty much, is how you would line this one up. It's Aaron Rodgers and the on-fire, smoking hot Green Bay Packers against the also pretty on-fire Chicago Bears, blowing out Seattle last week. So same thing as last time, Cory. I've been talking about this game too long on this air, so I'll let you go.
Right. Well, okay, this should be fun. Well, for all you Bears fans out there, I'm guessing you're excited you're playing at Soldier Field.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be, in my mind, I don't want it to be, but it's going to be one of the best games we probably will ever see. Maybe, probably of the century, because I won't be here for the next century, of course, but even just of this decade.
It'd be cool if I was.
Probably. Yeah, that'd be cool. I honestly, everyone beginning of the year that I've talked to has picked the Packers to win the Super Bowl, and
Yeah.
I didn't see it. But now, after seeing them just destroy Atlanta and just watching Aaron do his thing, I don't even care if they're in Soldier Field. They could win this game, and I don't think it'll be a blowout in my mind. But there's a potential that if he can figure out the defense fast enough, they will win that game. But on the other hand, though, the Bears' defense is very, very good, and I think one of the main reasons, I'm going to go back to last year quickly, is
Go ahead.
one of the things last year is that, remember week one, like, can't remember, sometime maybe second or first half, Brian Urlacher goes down with his wrist. He's injured for the rest of the season. Now, Urlacher's a little bit older, but he's a very core part of that defense.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think that's why they did not get to they didn't get to the playoffs last year, and that's why I think this year
You think Urlacher's that pivotal
Yeah, he is.
of a player that just because he's not in there, the defense was terrible?
No, not terrible, but just like it
Well,
wasn't
they were
the
pretty
same.
bad in '09. They were pretty bad.
Yeah, they just weren't the same.
And Briggs wasn't healthy. It was an injured defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to not be too tongue-in-cheeky about this, Urlacher was hurt, Briggs was hurt, no Julius Peppers. He was in Carolina,
Yep.
rotting.
Mm-hmm. And now they
wasting
do
his
have-
talents on who was the
Yeah.
quarterback that year? Matt Moore.
I think.
It started out as Jake Delhomme. He threw 400 billion interceptions
Mhm.
after getting a
After
$30
that,
million
getting a nice contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, going back to this year now, that this year's defense, Briggs is back.
Healthy. They're healthy.
Now they have Peppers and that very good defensive line.
They're so athletic with Briggs
Yeah.
and Urlacher, and then you've got Adonijah and Peppers as the ends.
Mhm.
But the inside, the D tackles,
Mhm.
are a little shaky. God, their names are escaping me.
Defensive tackles, Tommy Harris.
Tommy Harris is one of them. He's a little shaky.
Mhm.
He's had his issues. He actually, I know on one occasion, he was inactive. Coach's decision. Like, he was completely healthy, but they benched him anyway because he's, I guess,
Doesn't want-
bad or
yeah.
just like a complaint thing, like a suspension kind of. So it's they've had their issues on the interior, but their exterior is so good. They will be able to get after Aaron Rodgers, I think, in this game,
Yeah.
in the cold on a terrible field at Soldier
Mhm.
Field. It's god awful, and then. The secondary has been better of late, actually, with Tillman and then Jennings on the other side, the two
Yeah.
corners. They're a poor man's Darrell Revis and Antonio Cromartie for the Jets, bookend corners that can shut people down. And they're poor man's corners because they don't shut people down. They've been terrible. But the second half of the season, I don't know what happened. Jay Cutler stopped throwing interceptions. He
Started getting smarter. He's not,
didn't get
yeah.
sacked quite as much. The receiving core is still bad,
Mhm.
so that didn't change. They started making plays on defense. The way they shut down Michael Vick really is when I thought
Surprised me.
when they shut down Michael Vick, I thought, wow, this Bears defense is
really good.
they're the real deal. And you have to be the real deal to get to the NFC Championship game. I'm sure the Bears haters will say, well, they had to blow out Seattle to get to the NFC title game.
But they did earn that by getting a good enough record.
You beat the defending champs in your own house and then go to Chicago. I think you're a pretty impressive team.
Yeah.
As far as the playoffs are concerned. Obviously, they were terrible.
7-9.
Yeah.
You don't need to go any further.
Right.
In
They
the
were
NFC
terrible.
West.
Yeah. I mean, they were god awful. But at the same time, you have to be pretty good to win a playoff game.
Mhm.
And the Bears just did what they had to do, and now they're in the NFC title game against a Packer team which has had a much tougher road because they really haven't had the breaks this year that championship teams usually have. Like with the Saints last year, where they had like 46 turnovers in the regular season that the defense
Yes.
forced. Drew Brees having an MVP caliber season, even though he lost it to Peyton Manning. Just like everything broke right, and they were able to go 13-3 and win a championship. The Packers have been the complete opposite of that, right? They're 10-6, which is a solid record,
Yeah.
and they were supposed to be 13-3 maybe. Aaron Rodgers wasn't quite himself, but then again, he did have the 2 concussions.
Yeah.
Injuries all over the place. Ryan Grant is out. Nick Barnett is out. Jermichael Finley is out. And these guys, like, these aren't injuries that you come back from. They were all of them on IR. I mean, they had 6 starters on IR. They had, like, was it 13 players on IR overall? Like, way more than the rest of the league.
I believe so.
They were the MASH unit, but somehow the second and third string guys come in and play extremely well. The defense somehow found a pass rush out of Clay Matthews and B.J. Raji. Clay Matthews is a beast, but everybody else really isn't that good. And
Yeah.
Charles Woodson is...
he's older, but he's still... I mean, he was the defensive MVP last year.
He's
very good.
And he's not really a corner anymore. He's just...
He's more of just... He just blitzes
He just
most
plays.
of the time.
He just...
He can do it
I don't
all.
know, yeah. Makes tackles, and just that's why I liked him over Darrelle Revis a few years ago for Defensive Player of the Year, because not only is he a shutdown corner, but he's able to stop the run, he's able to rush the passer. I thought he was a more well-rounded player.
Yeah.
And and now he really doesn't cover as much because he's older and really can't get after it as quickly.
The thing is, though, is that going back to the corners with the Bears, though, they have Tillman, whoever else, but also, the Packers. Tremont Williams is very much surprised. He's surprised me so much.
Came out of nowhere.
He had 6 interceptions, was it, in the regular season? Or
Yes.
Yes. Pro Bowl snub, pretty much. And
He got in, actually.
He's got. Oh, he did?
He's in now.
Okay.
Because Asante Samuel for the Eagles, who was going, he's injured. So Tremont will go
And
in.
now they got that rookie Sam Shields, who's very good.
He's
too.
good.
He's gonna be very good.
He's impressive because I was at the first preseason game the Packers played this year, and they punt the first punt of the game goes to Sam Shields, and he dropped it. He dropped it, and I think the Browns got the ball back. And so I was like, oh my God, he's a terrible rookie as usual because he was undrafted and all that, and now he goes through the rest of the season and is pretty good for a rookie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Now also the thing is too is that if they don't have anyone open, you've seen Aaron Rodgers, especially in the Atlanta game. He can run out of the pocket, do whatever he wants, and he will find a throw. It's amazing to me. He just finds
It's
a throw.
unbelievable.
Yeah, and then now you have James Starks, who came out of nowhere also, and he didn't have a great week last week, but you know what? They don't have as much film on him to watch, though, and you know what? He's really came out of his shell, I guess, and he's very good. I don't know, losing Ryan Grant was really bad because we went straight to Brandon Jackson, and look what back.
He was awful. I mean, the Packers averaged like 50 yards rushing a game.
That's terrible.
Not counting what Aaron Rodgers ran for himself.
Aaron Rodgers was the leading rusher usually during the weeks. And
He was the second leading rusher overall, I think. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers is interesting to me just because everybody, I was on board from day one with Aaron as far as after 2008.
Yeah.
Watching him play a season, I was on board. I was like, he threw for 4,000 yards. The team went 6-10 because that team was terrible.
Yeah,
and I figure if they reload, they're going to be really good. And they ended up going to the playoffs and losing a ridiculous game. So I was on board saying he's, on his way to becoming one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. And everybody else was like, well, he's pretty good, but, he doesn't have the charisma that the guy that he replaced had, and he doesn't have this, and he doesn't have that. And I'm like, he's only played 2 years.
Exactly, that's what I said too.
If we wait and we see what happens, he's going to turn into an elite quarterback.
But trust me,
because that's what I saw.
I didn't think he'd do this good right now. I was going to give him next year to maybe have a chance at a Super Bowl run, but
I thought he was going to be this good.
But looking at this team right now, they have the tools to go anywhere. And you know what? I think the one reason that will come down to them beating the Bears, they've been in playoff mode for the past 2 weeks. The Bears just, they took a week off, which helps, but they had to face the Seahawks.
They've been in playoff mode for 5 weeks.
Well, true, but
they had to win against the Giants, and they won 45-17. Had to win against the Bears after that, and they beat them 10-3 at home. They had to go to Philadelphia and beat Michael Vick. They had to go to Atlanta, and they dominated in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And now they're in Chicago, and I think...
And they're in playoff mode.
You're not going to like this. I think they're out of gas. I do. I think they've done it for 5 weeks now, and or 4 weeks for this is the 5th week that they've been in playoff mode, and I think they're out of gas. I think it's going to be cold. The Bears fans are going to be pissed off, and the Bears defensive line I think is going to get the best of the Packers offensive line. I think Peppers is going to get after Aaron. I think he's going to have a hard time throwing the ball. No question they're going to score 17 points. I don't know how. I just think the Bears are going to do it. I think the Bears are going to beat the Packers in this game. And I'll pick against the Packers. I don't care.
And I will too usually, but
I don't have enough of a bias to pick against them to not pick against them. But yeah, Aaron, he's a great player. They're so banged up still, and eventually talent matters. And the Bears' first strings, even though they're probably as good as the Packers' second string, it's the Packers' third strings playing on defense. And I think that whole factor is what's going to turn into the Bears getting it done, and James Starks is not going to be able to run the ball in this game. Stop thinking James Starks just because he ran for 100 yards against a team that couldn't stop the run in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, he's good, but he's not going to gain much.
No, and I think...
Same thing goes to Matt Forte of the Bears, too.
Right, Forte's not going to be able to run either. I mean, it's a game where it's going to be cold as hell, and you have to run the ball, and neither team's going to be able to run. It's going to be really strange.
It's going to be a barn. It's just going to go back and forth.
And it's really weird to say it, but I think Cutler, he doesn't have to outplay Aaron. He just has to be better at the very end. And that's one of the things everyone has criticized Aaron on, is kind of when the light gets a little bright.
He's a choker.
Right. Well,
not now.
Not really. When you go and you think about the Atlanta game, this Atlanta game last week was the biggest game of his life, and he only went 31 of 36. I mean, what the hell happened on those other 5 passes?
Yep.
The guys didn't catch him.
It happens.
That was unbelievable. That was an unbelievable performance. He's obviously not going to repeat it.
No.
And
Plus they were, in the dome. He's in warm weather. Right. He played in California in college.
Mm-hmm. I think the Bears defense is going to get after him, and I'm going to pick the Bears to win this game. Why are they the underdog? They won the division. They won the division. They had a bye week. They had a better record overall. I thought the defense was better all year.
Yeah.
And why are the Packers favored? I can't figure it out. It's a hostile environment. It's going to be really cold. You're a finesse team. Mm-hmm. I think the Bears are going to win the game. So I'll let you pick now.
Yeah, first it just goes back to my point that everyone this year picked the Packers to win the Super Bowl, but you know what? I don't understand why they're not the underdog. They really should be going into Soldier Field. Any team on the road, I don't care who you are, is probably going to be the underdog. And the way Jay Cutler's playing right now, he's doing really good. And he's not doing that gunslinger mentality where he's just going to try and throw it anywhere he can. And he's not going to be the Jay Cutler of last year throwing many interceptions.
Okay.
And now my pick for this game, it's going to be, God, this is a tough one. I say it's going to be the Bears winning 21-17.
Ooh, you're giving it a little score. I'm not going to give it a score. I don't need to be that wrong.
Okay.
But, I don't know why I'm picking the Bears, because the more and more I think about it, I think the Packers can really win the game. I mean, they obviously can. But I just think the Bears at home. The biggest thing is the Bears at home and the Bears defensive line.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Cutler's going to play very well. I don't think Aaron's going to play very well. And I think the Bears defensive line is going to be able to get it done. All right, let's go back to the AFC title game. We never picked the game. So just really quickly, it's Steelers, it's Jets. Who wins and why?
You know what? I am very much been on the Jets bandwagon this year, but at home, Steelers are going to get it done in my mind, and it's going to be like a last-second field goal. Like I said, I don't really know what the score will be, but it's going to come down to Roethlisberger getting the ball with like 2-3 minutes left, driving down the field, like you said, being clutch as he is, and he's just going to get it done.
Would it be a cop-out to say I picked the game last night, so I don't have to pick it now?
Sure, it's fine with me.
No, I'm kidding. I think Roethlisberger is clutch. He's going to make the plays at the end. Whether Sanchez chokes or not is almost a non-factor. Mm-hmm. Ben's going to go down and make the plays. I'm going to say the Steelers win a really, really close, low-scoring game. Both of these games, I think 21-17 for the Packers-Bears is a little high. Mm-hmm. I think both of these games are going to be low-scoring, hard-fought, physical games. Mm-hmm. I like the Steelers as well. So we like the home teams to go to the Super Bowl. Bears-Steelers, that's a lame Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's going to be a very defensive Super Bowl.
I don't like that at all.
No.
Because I think Roethlisberger would kill him.
Yeah, honestly.
I do. I think because the Bears really aren't that good.
No, and really, I think Jay Cutler just playing his first postseason game this year, and now going to play a second one. Playing the Super Bowl right away, it's going to be I don't see him. He's gonna go back to his gunslinger mentality and just make any throw he can.
All right. Well, that was good stuff today. You make it easy every time.
Thank you.
Good stuff. I will. I don't know. I might do one of these on Monday. I haven't decided yet. But we'll.
Just depends what happens, man.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to do one on Monday. I got so much going on Mondays. Oh well. All right. See you next time. It's Ryan Hartson on BWC Internet Radio.